Yo, what's up guys? Hope you're all doing well. We just got the big reveal for Diablo 4 Season 12, the next big season and the final season before the expansion. So date-wise, the expansion is set to release on the 28th of April. And if this follows the normal suit, the current season will end and then the next one should start straight after. That would mean Season 12 launches on the March 10th. So if it comes out March 10th till April 28th, it's kind of just under 2 months. So a relatively short season, but they are kind of heading that way with their seasons lately. So let's go through it. They normally give us, everything we need to know roughly about the season, and then they'll do like a bigger reveal nearer to the date. So here's what we know so far. Season 12 is designed as a more focused, streamlined season that supports our broader roadmap towards the launch of Lord of Hatred on the 28th of April, while still delivering a fresh, rewarding, and fun experience for players. And I will say, from what I played of Season 11, I think the foundations are really good finally. Yes, we need more endgame. Yes, we need more cool systems, but they've spent a long time redesigning the base of what the game is, how the itemization works, how the systems in the game work, and they've gone back and forward on things so many times. Stop. I think we're in a really, really good place, and if that's what they're trying to do, just crystallize what the game is before they launch expansion, I think that's a good move. Did it take too long to get there? Absolutely, but we're here now, and that is good. So what's the season looking like? Okay, so unleash your rage with the kill streak system. Indulge in a bloodthirsty carnage to grow progressively stronger, maintaining a fast, efficient slew of kills to increase your power and earn rewards. So if you've played with Vajana, the mercenary, she has this already. She has this like tracking system of how many enemies you defeat, but it doesn't really do anything. Now it's going to be like a streak system on us. So you just go and defeat loads of enemies, you finish, and then it just pops your reward, which is going to be really, really cool. So the streak system will change how you play across Diablo 4. Slot your enemies in quick succession to begin the kill streak. As your streak begins, a pop-up will track your count. Once it begins, there'll be a short period of time before it begins to deplete. Continue with merciless pace and refresh your streak timer with additional kills, direct damage, or initial damage over time applications. It's marked by 5 distinct tiers. So if you've played, Call of Duty growing up, where you have these like tiers and you're trying to get to the chopper at the end, it's going to work like that. And hopefully there'll be some good rewards for getting to like 300, 500, monsters, which is going to be cool. So when the timer fully depletes, it will be over. And then this is what I think is really, really cool. The experience and the rep are gained at the end of the streak. So it's going to feel kind of like you're just going on this massive, carnage across the screen. Think like a Helltide. You're just going to be blasting through a Helltide. You'll kind of finish and you'll get like, and your levels just fly up, which I think is going to be very, very fun. The amount of experience and seasonal rep gained are based on the total number of monsters slain, with a bonus based on the kill streak tier achieved. So if you hit the big one, you're going to get like loads and loads of rewards, which is going to be cool. If you should perish while in a streak, it will immediately end without rewards. And then like with most seasons, we have an item type tied to the season. So we have a bloodied item. That's like our new thing. And you can pretty much ignore it. Just look at the red. The red is what we're looking at. So you have Rampage, 6% resource cost reduction per kill streak tier. So there are 5 tiers we just saw. So as you rank up the tier, you get stacking, I believe, resource cost reduction, which could be very fun. You have this Feast, every 25 kills, gain Berserking for 6 seconds. So if you could defeat things fast enough, you could sustain infinite berserking. And then we have 10% increased chance of runes, which is a reward type to the streaks as well, which is they could do more with that. So that's definitely interesting to see that we can get rewards on there, which is what they're trying to show us, I think. So yeah, bloodied items have affixes which scale in power based off your kill streak tier. Any item that can drop can potentially appear as bloodied. This item quality tag is non-exclusive, and an item can be both ancestral and bloodied. The affixes come in 3 categories: Rampage, Feast, and Hunger. These increases power based off the tier, applies to armor. For example, move speed per tier, that's incredible. And then we have Feast, combat bonuses, so that was like the berserking. So applies to weapons, every resets a random cooldown, pretty cool. These are constant and not tied to the tier. And then we have Hunger, which is rewards, which scale with the tiers. Elite monsters drop more runes frequently, applies to jewelry. So yeah, I think there's some very, very interesting things they could do here. If they had rewards like like more experience, or more like, if you were hunting for like mythics, you could get like more mythic chance, like 2% mythic chance. Things like that would be huge. The runes are already huge. Experience is going to be really, really good. Things like glyph experience is going to be really, really good to get. And then the other two, the Feast and the Rampage, that's just going to be build definers. You're going to have certain builds and you're going to build around that type of thing, and it's just going to break the build, and that's where the fun comes, I think. So I think that's really cool. And then you have the bloodied sigils, and this is where you can corrupt your dungeon. So you can have like a bloodied dungeon. So nightmare dungeons, infernal hordes, and lair bosses can have bloodied sigils. These potent sigils only become available in torment levels, so torment 1. And this is, you can see here, transform this place into a bloodied lair with greater challenge and greater rewards. And then there's not so much that we know about it. While in combat, nightmare portals open randomly near players, pouring out monsters, and enemies are much stronger here, and the butcher relentlessly haunts you. So it looks like we're just going to be jumping around, fighting monsters in carnage, which, what more can you ask for, really? What more do you want? Each bloodied sigil carries a bloodied affix, the relentless butcher, the infamous purveyor of the butcher. This does not replace any existing chance to have butcher spawn. There is the chance to fight the butcher simultaneously. Expect activity in the sigil to be around a torment tier higher in difficulty than your current torment tier, which hopefully means when we get to 4, you know, all the high levels, you could go one step higher, which is going to be really interesting to push that open world to kind of like match something like the pit, which would be pretty cool. I hope there's more than just the butcher. I hope that's just an example, because you know, that's okay. I'm hoping we get some really, really cool stuff here. But yeah, that's pretty much, there's loads of other stuff, but that's pretty much the event. If you want to save your time, that's kind of the event. The rest is like items and stuff. So overall, I think this is pretty interesting. I mean, they're doing these like short, snappy seasons, and I, for one, am so happy we don't have any powers. One thing you didn't see here is powers. Season 12 powers, and that stupid little glyph with 5 things and you have to get the powers. No sign of it. I couldn't be happier that we don't have that. Just keep making the base game better, make the items better, make the actual running around fighting monsters more fun. That's all I think a lot of us want. That's all I want. And I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty excited to see what we actually end up doing here. But we're going to be able to test this on the PTR on February the 3rd to February the 10th. So that's pretty cool. So it's not very long, really. We can get in and we can play this and try it, and I'll let you know what it's like. I'll try some builds. But now we'll go on to, you know, if you want to really nerd out, we'll go into the items as well. Okay, so the new unique items, we have the Blood Mad Idol, the unique amulet. It's going to have all stats, attack speed, crit chance, damage reduction while injured. You are always berserking, but take increased damage as burning over 8 seconds. While burning, berserking grants increased damage. So it's high risk, high reward. I think that's very fun. Always berserking is you know, amazing. Berserking gives you so many buffs. You can spec into so many different things tied to the berserking tag. So that's good. And then if you can reduce the burning, or you can overheal it and stuff like that, that's going to be interesting. There's definitely going to be some busted builds from that. Wendigo brand unique ring, life regen, life on hit, and physical resistance. Every 15 kills in the last 30 seconds increase your damage dealt by 2% and max health by 1%. So that's pretty cool. That's a ring tied straight to, you know, the streak system. So, you know, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like it has any sort of reset thing. It's just in the last 30 to 60 seconds. Not sure how well we could scale that with how many monsters we get in the game. I think one thing I'm a little bit concerned about with this season is the monster density in Diablo sucks. I mean, if you've played some other ARPGs, you go in a map and there's just like 100 monsters staring at you. Diablo, it's like you jump into a pack, there's like 6, and then you run around, and then you jump into the next pack and there's like 6 or 4. And getting up to like 500 monsters isn't something that you can do in much of the content, unless you're doing like an infernal horde or something. So I'm really curious what that's going to be like. I'm going to be curious if they just throw more monsters in. That's going to make this a lot more rewarding. If not, who knows? We've got the Rust Bitten Dirk weapon. Stats, life, attack speed, vuln damage, deal increased damage to isolated enemies. Now, unless I'm not understanding that correctly, that means enemies that are just on their own. So bosses, I can't think what else that would be. Just increased damage to bosses. There's not many other enemies that just stand on their own. Maybe the odd, elites. We've got the weird skin unique gloves, life, core skills, always good, crit chance, attack speed. Attack supply vulnerable to distant enemies and weakened to close enemies. Deal 30% increased damage to enemies that are both vulnerable and weakened. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's very, very, very interesting. That's going to be very fun on like rogues. Thousand Eye Reaver, unique one-handed axe. That was used by all, right? Yeah. Thousand Eye Reaver. So this is life, crit chance, movement speed on elites, lucky hit, 40% chance to deal physical damage. Moving grants ferocity, and max ferocity is increased by 3. Ferocity also increases movement speed by 8%. That's incredible. That's very, very, very interesting. Because if you're playing like a I was going to talk about Spiritborn, but this isn't usable on Spiritborn. It's Barbarian, Druid, Necromancer, and Paladin. So they're going to get the ferocity things, and maybe we can like use some of those aspects over with them to combine with that as well. Either way, interesting. Nothing here is screaming like this is so much fun. This is going to be so much fun. Nothing I'm like really hungry to try, except for maybe the Berserking one. And maybe if there's loads of enemies, this Wendigo ring. Features offered for testing, we'll have several for PTR in the largest regions. PTR boost, so you'll be able to boost up. Is this coming on day one? The trusty PTR vendor, Marak, will be available throughout the duration of PTR. Yep, so generally, if you've never tested the PTR, you just go on, and in the town, there will be a little dancing goblin. You just click him, and you go to max level, and then you click him, he'll give you gear, and you can just claim like gear, XP, glyph levels, so you can get a max fully juice boosted character to test out anything you want. So if you are interested in any of this, you can jump on. I'll be on there and having a go as well. But yeah, here you go. You can get everything. Like you can get, you know, anything you could possibly want. You can finish the season in 3 seconds and try it out. But yeah, that's the PTR. That's season 12. I think some of this is really, really exciting. Some of it is okay and not that huge. But overall, what we're seeing is the base game is getting better. And we're getting more things that add to the base game. I really like, it's going to be interesting what carries over and what becomes like core, because things like sanctifying items, I thought was really, really cool. I didn't get to play the last season as much as I'd like to because I had some other things come up and it was like a rough time. But generally, I think they did a very, very good job. And I think sanctifying was incredible. And I hope that stays core in the game. It'll be a shame if that just like goes, because I think that's awesome. I think like the idea of like corrupting your item at the end to try and hit like a 1 in 100 thing is really, really fun and just keeps you chasing things and is just really good gameplay loop. If it goes, it goes, but that's what makes ARPGs so good, I think, is getting a good system that's really well received, keeping it, building on it, and adding more and more and more. Things like this streak thing, that's something you could keep in the game with certain items and carry it forward. So yeah, let's see. I'm not going to be critical because I think generally we're moving in a good direction, albeit a little slow. Diablo 4 is trucking on to be a pretty good ARPG, and I'm ready for the D4 bad comments down below. Let's see. Let's give it a chance, and we'll jump in February and test it out. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Take care.